Hello and welcome to 10 Minute Takes. This is where we give you the rating first, then we discuss what we liked and didn't like about the movie. Today's film is Kin. You ready to rate this?
Yes.
It's okay, I'm ready too. Alright, 3, 2, 1,
Pass it.
Yeah, I really didn't want to give it a pass it, but yeah. So Kin. Kin tells the story of a lower class, middle class family, and there's two brothers, and then there's the father. The father's played by Dennis Quaid. The two brothers, one's adopted, one's just getting out of jail. When the one gets out of jail, he's been in jail for 6 years. He has been protected by a local gang leader of some kind. The gang leader is played by James Franco. Yeah. James Franco has offered him protection for those years, and I guess you could boil it down to, like, for every year he was in jail, he owes him $10,000, because when he gets out, he owes him $60,000. He does not have that $60,000
I didn't catch that.
to pay him back. So when he gets out, he doesn't have the money. James Franco goes after him, and then the older brother has to go on the run. And then when the older brother goes on the run, he brings the little brother with him. When he brings the little brother with him, the little brother has come in possession of this futuristic ray gun. You don't know where it comes from, where it came from. The only introduction to the ray gun that we have is inside of this factory. You see like these light flashes, and it looks like there's an action sequence. You don't actually see anything, but then you see the aftermath. You see these people who are like in this futuristic body armor. They're all dead. There happens to be this weapon that's left over. This little kid goes into these abandoned buildings. He essentially raids them. He goes in, takes all the wire and stuff out of the walls, and then he goes to a local junkyard and he flips them for money. He gets like 70 cents a pound for whatever he brings. Now, with that said, before we really get into it, because there's one like big fundamental problem that I have with this film. So there will be spoilers here. We're going to talk about some things. We're not going to talk about the ending and who these futuristic people are, but we are going to. There's just no way to talk about the things that I had a problem with this film without spoiling some early plot points. So if you're sensitive to spoilers, you really want to see this, maybe skip to the end or skip past this little segment. But there's really just, I have no way of talking about the things that I dislike about this film without spoiling some plot points. So with that said, let's get into some of the earlier stuff that happens in this film. And that is when the older brother comes back from prison, he owes James Franco's character $60,000. He goes to the dad and says, hey, can I borrow $60,000? As if the dad has $60,000 laying around.
And clearly he doesn't.
No, you see the house and stuff. You see the way that they live. There's no $60,000. He's like,
yeah, lying around.
But the place you work at has $60,000. I know you have a safe there. I don't know how he would know he had to have a safe there. He's been gone for 6 years. But he miraculously knows there's a safe there that has the money that he needs.
My assumption is that his dad has had this job for a long time and he used to work there. Like, that's just kind of an assumption. I mean, I can see how he knows that there's a safe there.
He goes there with James Franco's character. They go to rob the place, and then they kill. Dennis Quaid walks in on him, robbing him, and then they kill the father. That's when the older brother, he kills one of James Franco's people. I think it's his brother. He kills James Franco's older brother.
Yeah.
He runs home. He picks up his little brother, says, hey, we got to go on the run. We got to take a road trip across the country. He doesn't tell him that the dad just died. So he's like, yeah, pack your bags. We're going to go. Dad's okay with this. It's fine. And the older brother just lies to the little brother consistently throughout the whole film. Never once does he ever tell the truth.
Yeah.
The older brother's probably one of the least likable characters I've seen in a film, and he never ever redeems himself.
Like, not to what he's been doing. He never has a clarity about what he doesn't really care what he's doing.
No.
He never apologizes to the brother that he never told him the truth. There was no reconciliation between him and the boy, and that was disappointing.
Yeah,
you want to like him, but you can't.
He's just a bad guy doing bad things, and he never owns up to it, and he never changes.
Yeah, he just continue. If like once you leave the film, if this film was gonna continue, you can tell like he's still gonna not be a good guy.
Yeah, he lies to the brother constantly. He has all kinds of chances to tell him the truth. Never does. Mm-hmm. And so you're essentially stuck with these bad characters doing bad things and making bad choices for a 2-hour film.
I don't agree with that. I like the boy.
He's fine.
I had a connection with the boy. I thought the boy was good. I thought he was a likable character. I mean, the poor kid went through a lot. Give him a chance.
He doesn't know he went through a lot. He doesn't know he went through pretty
Yeah,
much
but
anything.
he can.
And then he turns into a little robber. He turns into a thief, like, in the middle of the movie.
Yeah, because his brother made him. It's not like he had a choice in that.
Oh, yeah.
His brother made him. It's not like he was
This is
like,
bad
I'm just going to
characters
go
doing
rob
bad.
this with you. I really want to. This is what I want to do with my life. No, he gets convinced by his brother to go and do it. It's
Okay,
not a choice.
They pick up a stripper at a strip joint who decides to join them because they blow up the strip club
Just
with the ray gun.
miraculously, she's like, I'm just going to leave this behind and go with these two random people that seem like a much better choice, even though they just blew up the place.
Yeah.
Not saying she's in a good situation. She was clearly in a bad situation. She voices that, and then she's like, okay, here's these people who just walked in with a lot of money, and they blew up the place. Sounds like a good bet. I don't know about that.
So, my main problem with this film boils down to no one knows that they are in peril except for the older brother. And there's no sense of immediacy
I'm not sure what you mean.
to this film. So, when you look at the trailers, it looks like those two futuristic characters are after the gun throughout the whole film. No
Yeah.
one knows those characters exist.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, I see what you mean. All right.
So
I'm
those two
following.
characters, had they had a run-in with those two characters earlier in the film, and you knew those two characters were after the gun, and the people that we follow in the film knew they were being followed and they were in danger, I think you would have a different film. The little brother doesn't know they're being followed and that they're in danger. The stripper that they pick up doesn't know they're being followed and doesn't know that they're in danger. The older brother knows that they're being followed, but he doesn't know they're being followed by James Franco, and he has no idea that James Franco is actually after them until the very end of the film, which boils down to the police station. Once they're at the police station, then he realizes, oh, I've been followed this whole time. Up until that point, he has no idea that they're being followed.
Yeah.
So you're stuck with an hour and a half of screen time where the characters don't know that they're in danger, and it lacks any sense of tension.
I think that my biggest issue with the film was that it was so choppy. Like, the dialogue was choppy. Things just kind of happened. There was no
Dialogue's
flow. There was no flow that I could follow that made the most logical sense. Like, it just was so random and things just kind of happened that it took away from the film. I wanted to like the film. I thought
It
that
looked cool.
it looked really cool. The gun looks really cool, but it just didn't mesh well through the movie.
If you took the gun and the futuristic characters or whatever they are, you get some sort of sense of who they are at the end of the film. They reveal themselves, and there's a scene with the main characters and the two people who are after them. Still don't know who they were or where they were from. You just know they're from a different place. If you take all that away, you don't really change anything about the film. You could swap the futuristic ray gun for like a shotgun, and you have a very similar film.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And when you have a film that has...
But then again, okay, so the other thing that I had an issue with, sorry I cut you off, but the futuristic part and the other people were so random. Like, even though that was the main focus of the movie, was that he has this crazy futuristic gun, when he goes into the factory and goes through walking around and there's all these futuristic people on the ground, futuristic guns, and he just randomly picks it up and they go searching for it. All of these ideas are so futuristic that it doesn't make sense in the time period that they're in. It's just so randomly placed.
Yeah, well, you don't know where they're from. I don't know if you actually find out. And maybe at that point I was so out of the film, maybe it was sudden I just didn't catch it. The film essentially felt like sequel bait. It felt like it was 2 hours of film to set up for what they really wanted to do, which would be the sequel. If this film made enough money to warrant a sequel, I feel like they would do what they really want to do with the sequel. And this really felt like if you're watching a TV show, it feels like a filler episode that you didn't need. I mean, it really does.
Yeah.
You look at like Stranger Things. The second season of Stranger Things, I think, had a few filler episodes that weren't necessarily needed. Yeah, and the film, I think, boils down to it almost looks and feels like a TV show, and they cut a lot of content out of it to make it fit into a movie. And I feel like this would have been better served as an actual like Netflix 8-episode series, because there is so much stuff that happens that's random that you could really flesh out these characters and this concept and have a really, really cool show out of it. It just didn't
I
make
agree.
A good film
Yeah, I
for me.
think that if they had taken this and put this into like a Netflix TV show, I think it would have been a lot better, and you would have been able to invest in it more. I do agree with that. Is there anything that you actually did like?
I mean, the Jack Rayner is he's a good actor. He acted his part as well as he could. He's the older brother. I know him from Sing Street. He was also in Detroit from last year.
That's right, Sing Street. I knew I recognized him from somewhere.
He's a really good actor. I really like him.
That's all I can say.
I will say that I did like the scene when the older brother teaches the younger brother to drive. That was a nice moment.
That was a nice moment, but that was the only nice moment.
If the film had more moments like that of them bonding as actual brothers and siblings, as well as put them into more of an immediate sense of peril, because their whole thing is that they're traveling to Tahoe, I think it is, Lake Tahoe. So it's like, we gotta get to Lake Tahoe. There's no reason to get to Lake Tahoe outside of just trying to get away from, I think they're in Detroit. I think they're just running away from Detroit and they're just going to some remote place. I didn't want to harp on this film. I really wanted to like this film. I went into it excited for it. Thought it'd be like a cool, low-budget, Stranger Things styled science fiction action film.
I think we can wrap it up. I think we've said everything we need to say.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. That's it for our discussion on Kin. Let us know what you thought below in the comments. Like and subscribe if you'd like to see more. We have The Little Stranger next. So stay tuned, and thanks for watching.